Greetings, Rummies, and welcome to Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to the third race of the Evolution Racing Academy. Today, driving on Kyalami in the wet. I'm not alone, but I'm with a man with the voice of 1,000 angels, Cody. Cody, have you ever driven Kyalami in the wet?
I have driven Kyalami, I have driven in the wet, I have not driven Kyalami in the wet.
I cannot imagine how difficult it is, because Kyalami is difficult enough and different enough, and it's a very technical track, but in the wet it's gonna be even more technical.
You know, Kyalami is an interesting circuit because it's one of those tracks that I've actually always found pretty easy for me. Like, it has some awkward corners, but I find that I look at my lap delta going through them and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't feel right, but I get through it and I'm like, oh, I actually gained like a lot of time. So for whatever it is about this track, just suits my personal driving style for some reason.
I know, I like the flow of the track also a lot.
Yes.
I don't know, the parts fit together well.
They do. It's a really good track. But yeah, driving in the rain, that's going to be the big wrench in things today. So even if you've gotten a lot of practice on Kyalami, well, now you've got a lot less grip, so these drivers are going to be a lot more careful. And I still think we're going to see some good battles. Kyalami's got more passing zones than we were at last weekend.
Yeah.
But I think the wet, they might be a little bit more cautious. We might see a little bit more unintentional contact, I'll call it. But we're going to have to see how it goes. But right now, you are looking at us in qualifying here. We've got about 14 minutes of qualifying to go of a session that just started. And so we've actually got 3 classes here, so you have 3 colors on the broadcast overlay to the left on the tower. We have gold, silver, and bronze, so you've got 3 races going on. These are all GT3 cars. We're in a set of course Competizione. The primary car of the sim is GT3, so though we now have GT2s and 4s. But yeah, so these drivers are of different skill levels. They're fighting against their own skill level, but then there's also the battle for overall, and we'll see a few drivers, I'm sure, punch above or below their weight class, depending on how well they can drive in the rain. We'll see.
Yeah, and after 2 races, this is the third, we already have some drivers getting well in the points with Richard Oakes, Thomas Hagen, Dave Young, and Federico Calgaro 1 to 4 in the gold tier. And these are names that you have been hearing for the last 2 races. Parois, Cedric, Jardine, and Stancer in silver. And Moru, Kolb, East, and Gies in bronze. So these are names that we're getting accustomed to, because of course they've been driving on the high positions. If not, they wouldn't have made enough points.
Right now we're watching Shepard, the Kevin Shepard, silver driver. In the Ferrari 296 GT3, he's currently leading qualifying. Of course, we haven't sent out the golds yet. Currently leading qualifying with a 1 minute 50.235. So that is kind of where the pace is at. And if you've got reference of, oh, I've driven around this in, you know, X and X time, well, you know, this is in the rain, so it's going to be a little bit slower. But these are some quick drivers that put on some good races. This is the second split of 2 races. Sorry, do you want to kind of cover that a little bit for those who may be new joining us?
You mean the splits?
Yes, that's the one. We've covered the splits within this race, but there's also another race going on.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
that's on the first server. So this is the server 2, and we have the server 1 where the high level drivers drive. But in conversation with the Evolution Racing Academy before the start of this 9th season, they said, well, it's not many. It's gonna end up being more hot laps, watching those drivers make hot laps. Here you're gonna have a full grid with different drivers. You're gonna see a lot of action, and that's true. That's what we've been seeing for the last 2 races, and I expect Kyalami in the wet is gonna be even more difficult. But that's part of what the Evolution Racing Academy does. We saw Barcelona at night last week. We're seeing Kyalami in the wet this week because they are learning community that has training for the drivers regularly, has group or even one-on-one training, so that the drivers learn the ropes, that beginners who have not done much sim racing also learn what it's all about, what are the rules, how should you react on track, how should you react to others. So especially this second server with different drivers on different levels is very good, because you have to learn a lot of things, and as I said, that's what the Evolution Racing Academy is for.
Now, interesting note of a driver on the grid. We have a driver who was going to be on the grid, but is not. That was the race-winning Bentley driver last week. The name has escaped me. Help me out.
Chris Wall.
Chris Wall, that's the one. Yes, driver who absolutely put on a dominant show last week. Started on pole, led the entire race with the big old Bentley, and he is absent this race, so that is an interesting thing regarding points.
he was driving for Ike, so to speak, and Ike is driving today.
Gotcha.
So, and if he's driving today, he either got the part of his computer that he was waiting for, or he just stole a computer from somewhere. So, let's see what he tells us.
Yeah, that was going to be my next little thing. Like, yeah, I expect. So, that was unexpected. He had computer malfunction that kept him out of the last race. So I guess, if I'm remembering, Wall drove the Bentley for him, and now, hey, look, Ike's getting on track now. But yeah, good to see him back after missing the last race.
Yeah, and of course he's in the boat.
Of course, the boat Bentley.
The Bentley with the Aston Martin green. My brain melted.
Oh, the British Racing Green?
Yeah, you see?
I think all the... Yeah, I see it. All the British car makers, I think, claim some level of ownership over that shade of green.
Really? So I've seen the Bentley in many colors, never seen it in the Aston Martin green, but it may be my problem.
Well, this livery is a throwback to the Bentley Speed 8 that won Le Mans in 2003 and campaigned to win Le Mans in 2002 and 2001 unsuccessfully, but they did pull it off in 2003, and this, I believe, is a throwback livery to that car.
Hmm.
At least it looks like the model I have on my shelf. Got about 6 minutes left of qualifying here, sort of what do you think will be the biggest challenge for these drivers? Obviously, the rain will throw some wrench in it, but perhaps a little bit further than that. What do you think's going to push these drivers a little bit?
I think for the beginner drivers, it's gonna be the combination of this track, which we've both said it's got a good flow, but of course, if you're a beginner and you're watching everything and everything is new to you, you won't get into the flow so easily. So it's a technical track. I mean, it's only got one place where you can breathe comfortably. That's the southern end straight, and the rest is a lot of different corners that you take on different speeds, where you have to play a lot with brake and throttle. So for the beginners, I suppose it's going to be the mix of everything. For the more advanced ones, I think it's going to be mostly that it's in the wet and you have to drive differently than you would drive when you are on dry, especially as we're seeing now Hagen taking this corner, which is a very difficult corner as it's uphill, and the braking point is not easily found. It's even more difficult if it's in the wet, and in fact we've seen a couple of drivers already struggling to keep the car straight because, I suppose, of the water.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of cars going off in braking zones. That's been something I've noticed here through qualifying. Not too many drivers, and actually I haven't seen too many bronze drivers make many mistakes, but of the silver drivers that were out, and now we're seeing gold drivers set laps, but of the silver drivers that were out, I did see several that were having a few moments, pretty much all in braking zones. So I think that's going to be one of the areas to watch. Of course, on this track, the braking zones is where you're going to do a lot of your passing. So these drivers might be a little bit more careful due to the weather conditions. But they've still got a race. They've still got to push and push, and so we will see how it shapes out. Shapes up, shapes out, shapes up.
And they are race drivers, so they want to win.
Absolutely.
So when these guys, whoa, I'm going a little bit wide. When these drivers have finished, I think we already have qualifying fully finished, right?
Yes, we have 3 minutes left of qualifying. The gold drivers are in the midst of what will be their quickest laps. Right now we've seen Thomas Hagen set a record. Of course, there's more gold drivers who need to set their records, and that was a 1 minute 49.37. And I do want to have a bit of a shout out for our guy Mike Sky, because he set the fastest. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not the fastest. The second fastest time of the golds, the 1 minute 49.56. So a little under, or around 2/10 off of Hagen's time, but certainly a quick driver in the wet.
Yeah, and he's third overall.
Yay! Just upset though by Aldo Rossi in the 888 McLaren.
I jinxed it.
We saw that. Go ahead.
I jinxed it.
Oh, right. Well, you know, it's there's minute 48, minute 47 of qualifying, so these drivers will have a lap or two and then we'll be done. But there's a lot that can happen with regards to qualifying in those 2 laps. Kevin Shepard, punching above his weight class was the thing that I said a minute ago, and there's nobody more emblematic of that right now on the grid than Kevin Shepard. He is a silver driver whose time, and again, it can still be beaten, but his time is above all the other silvers and third overall at the moment. We will see if that gets knocked down a peg or two, but he has demonstrated a pace up there with the big guns. So we'll see how that shapes up. I'm sure there will be some silver drivers who have put a target on Shepard's back. So that number 41 Ferrari, definitely a car to watch.
And that, even with the gold drivers having a better track than the other ones. Although, of course, contrary to what happens on a dry track, Ike having a moment there, contrary to what happens on a dry track, the buildup of rubber is not that important, and in some parts of some of the tracks even counterintuitive, because it makes the track more slippery.
Yeah, I would say that under wet conditions, you really want to look at where the water has been pushed to, so you can avoid those, because it'll kind of pool in certain areas, and as the line, you can actually see it visually in ACC. But sort of a dry line will emerge, and it won't always be synonymous with the racing line in dry conditions, but it's definitely something that you've got to weigh your options. Do I take the dry line, or do I take the racing line and risk, hydroplaning a tire and sliding off? There's definitely much more to consider whenever you're figuring out the fastest way around a circuit than just simply taking the racing.
And water physics of Assetto Corsa Competizione are quite good. Not the best overall, I would say, but they are quite good, and you do have a building of puddles and having that moment of oops, it was a little bit too wet where I went, and luckily I didn't slip. But you notice it in the force feedback, you notice how the car is behaving or misbehaving. So it's a great simulation of driving, racing in the wet within Assetto Corsa Competizione. So the drivers are finishing their qualifying. Ike is already in pits, 4th overall. Rossi in pits, Hagen in pits, Shepard in pits. Oaks moves to 5th position overall. And I think that would be all. Yeah, there's nobody else finishing his lap. So we have Rossi, Hagen, Shepard, who, as you have said, is punching above his way on 3rd. Sky, Oaks, Young, Knight, Elshaug, and Russo and Arnold. Those are the first 10 of 24 drivers that are going to be on the grid soon.
The absolute fastest time that we saw in qualifying was set by Rossi, 888 McLaren, 1 minute 49.36. That is quick, but he is in good company with a lot of drivers very, very close to that time. So that means, crunching all of those numbers, that we've got a very good race ahead of us. A very good close race, and all we've got to do is be a little bit patient, because now there's the just this waiting period, and then we'll get to go on the grid and go racing, finally. But in the meantime, that does mean that we get to just stare at this folk.
Yeah. Thought I could go back to drive easily, but no. The server has to, so to speak, reset, has to get into the racing.
All right. So we have stacked up on the grid now. Now we are 2 minutes to start. Sort of, for some of these 2 minutes, would you like to take us through the standings as of the last race for this championship?
The standings of the last race I don't have at the moment at hand. I only have the overall standings.
Oh yeah, I'm talking overall standings.
Okay, so we have Oakshagen Young on gold as the first to third. On silver, Parois, Cedric and Jardine. And on bronze, Moru, Kolb and East. And I don't know why I cannot click on drive. Maybe because the session has not started. It's waiting a minute until it starts.
Click on return to garage, and
Really?
then you should be able to click on drive.
On drive?
From there.
No, not yet. Not yet. You were seeing different penalties. Those, as we learned last week, are success penalties. Those who had good times had good positions in the last race are going to be penalized, so to speak, so that the drivers are all a little bit nearer, with 15, 10 and 5 seconds. There we go. Now I can.
All right, we're 20 seconds to green here in this 1 hour race.
Well,
at
not
Kyalami,
exactly green, because
20
they
seconds
start
to green.
they start with
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've slept since the last time we've done this. But yes, okay. So we get rolling here at any moment now. Yes, there we go. Starting with the 888 McLaren of Rossi, we're going to line up, get rolling. I believe it's a rolling start, is it not?
yes.
Okay,
If I
good.
remember
didn't
correctly,
forget
it is a
everything.
roll. And that's how it looks like behind somebody. It's difficult to see. It's gonna be fun. The person at the front is gonna be able to drive easily, but all the others are gonna be imagining in part where they are driving and whom they are driving against.
It's like in a horse race. At the end of the race, you can always tell the jockey that won the race because he's the only one whose face is not covered in dirt.
Yeah. True that.
These drivers definitely going to be dealing with a lot of spray. This is a fairly common thing. They know how to race with spray. If it's wet and at night, that becomes a bit of a trickier issue, but we will be in the daytime for all of this race. So yeah, I don't expect spray to be too big of an issue for this track and these track conditions.
It's gonna be raining the whole race, at least that's what. At least they didn't set up any wind, because that would be mean. In fact, I don't know how often it really rains in real Kyalami.
Well, Kyalami, if anyone was not aware, is in South Africa, and I could tell you a lot about the weather of South Africa if only I knew anything about the weather of South Africa, but I don't.
We could ask the people from the Logistic Nightmare Racing. They are a South African group, and they are here.
Aha! So they're racing on their, you could call it home track.
Yeah, so to speak.
Well, they will be ones to watch.
we are near. That's of course also because why parts of the track have red, green and blue, because those are the colors of the South African flag.
So, if you're wanting to track the leading South African so far in the race, at least in the gold division, that is Dave Young in the number 129 AMG Mercedes. Logistical Nightmare Racing.
And we're about to go green.
Right, just as soon as we cross the line right now, let's go. Oh, let's go racing. There we go. Crossing under the bridge brings us to the green, and we're off to a good start here. Ike looking towards the inside. Really close on the back end. Let's get around turn one. Well, oh man, we got some contact. They both come away from it all right, but man, that was not where either of those drivers wanted to be on turn one, bumping into each other. Looks like we're all getting off smooth. Oh no, we are not getting off smoothly. Big off down the order. Holy cow. Yeah. Big spin from two McLarens at the same time. Spins a lot of drivers out down further afield. And just absolute carnage here. And it was interesting, those two McLarens, they didn't make contact, but they both just turned at the exact same time. They hit the same wet patch, and I guess something about the McLaren suspension did not like that, and just lost traction flying. Oh man, we've got another Ike. Ike is off. Russo is off as well. That's the 78 Ferrari and the number 22.
Watching the replay. Ike had no part in that. He was just a passenger. Got hit from behind. And that was it. Pity. No fault of his own. Rossi is getting away from all the chaos, and easily he's already almost 2 seconds away from Hagen. Finishing the first lap. And while Rossi has gotten away from Hagen, Oaks is very near to Hagen in the rusty Porsche. And what do we have here? Jardine, very near Sheffield. Jardine, who won the first race in Spa. His Lexus. We have a nice battle for fifth between Shepard, Jardine, Elshaug and Knight, which is the group that you are seeing right now. Further down the line, we have a battle for 10th between Bellish and Arnold. We have a battle for 14th between Pattenden and Holland, and Russo has had an issue once again. Oh, it seems that he spun. Maybe the collision that he had with Ike broke something. Doesn't look very good for Russo at the moment, who of course has dropped to dead last. And where's Ike? Oh, did Ike DNF? Seems very much as if Ike DNF'd. Oh no. Oh no. He could come into the commentator booth, I mean, at least. No! Second lap. Rossi is still very easily in his position, but there's a battle for second brewing between Hagen, Oaks and Young. There's a lot of battles. Knight against Elshaug. Bellish, Arnold, and Morud. Becca, Pattenden, and Van Holland for 13th. As always, at the beginning of a race, there's a lot going on, so we are jumping between everything. One way how you can see what we are watching is that the number of the driver we have set the cameras on appears in red. Here Oaks, but for example, oh, Young losing a position. As you can see, for example, if now I go to night, you see that he is on red. Let me see if I can get Ike in here. Although Ike seems to be offline. Hey, Becca! Becca had a moment there. So we were shown in yes, there we go. He went a little bit too hard on the sausage curb. So we have Young against Oaks, Jardine against Shefford. Very, very. That's what Jardine has to deal with. As you can see, you have to smell the track in between the raindrops. Oaks drops to Oaks is having issues. He dropped to 4th and we see him struggling with the car.
Yeah, Young now in 3rd takes advantage of that. Yeah, that portion, he's looking kind of loose, like here in this braking zone. See, he's being extra careful here. Of course, all these drivers have been careful, but it did look like something maybe had upset the car there for a moment.
Yeah. So the closest battle that we have is still Jardine against Shefford.
Yep, that's the battle for 5th. These are the, and that's 5th overall, but 1st in class for the silver drivers. That's 41 Ferrari of Shepard. Remember, we said that he had a target on his back a little bit because of his excellent qualifying time. So that would be very impressive to beat such a high-paced driver in class. And Jardine is the driver who's saying, hey, I'm going to be the one to do it. At least judging by the fact that he is getting ever closer, 0.4 seconds back behind there in the Lexus. We hadn't really seen too much of the Lexus in the last race, but definitely here now, and he is making
Shepard's
himself
having a moment
known. There. Yeah, getting ever closer. He's halved the distance to Shepard.
But it's not easy to overtake there. Not to say impossible. But after the next corner, not this one, the next one, it's easy because if you get a good exit, which is difficult, you then can get a lot of speed and a lot of better speed than your opponent. But this is not what is happening here.
Yeah, he's losing a little bit of distance here, but he goes back. Whoa, no!
Oh.
Rapidly closing the distance, slamming into the back of the Ferrari.
Not a good idea.
Oh, goodness. That was not the way either of them wanted that to go. Clearly, he gets going again, as does Shepard. I'm curious if he'll give the position back. But definitely they go down the order. Oh, and we've got, let's see, I saw a brief yellow for Young's car, the AMG Mercedes, currently sitting in third place. And I'm not quite sure what that was for. It looked like, actually, I think just a minor glitch there. But yeah, goodness, those drivers getting into the back of each other, can't put any fault on the Ferrari for that one.
Never.
Oh, Arnold goes spinning in the yellow Ferrari, the 91 Ferrari. Spins, I think, all by himself there. Just in the braking zone. Yeah, he went off
completely by himself.
He actually did a very good job to not slam into the back of Jardine, which would have been karmic, but not ideal for either driver. Rossi has been leading this race, the 888 McLaren, who I believe, if I'm recalling off the top of my head, placed third in the last race. He's proven himself a good, consistent driver, and that McLaren is doing him wonders in the wet. You've actually got a McLaren leading 2 classes right now, because Elshaug is leading the silvers in the 988 McLaren. Oh, no, they're not part of the same team, despite the similar naming scheme. I'm sorry, numbering scheme. Rossi and Elshaug both are 2 drivers with success penalties, so they will be spending an extra 10 seconds in the pits than otherwise.
And we just saw a very nice, very calm overtake from Holland against Morud for 12.
And we have been joined by Ike, who is no longer on the grid. Ike, what's going on?
Evening, gents. Got punted up the backside, 8 seconds of damage, and had a lovely spin down mine shaft, and that made it closer to 60, so the computer is not overly happy with running ACC, let alone anything else. So I kind of decided that it was better to not on this particular occasion. I hadn't had enough practice. I hadn't had enough I haven't been able to make my own setup, which is always a big thing. I'm on the wrong PC. I haven't got any of the stuff that I'm used to having with me, so I had to give it a shot. Because the only points this is outright points lost. There's nothing that I can do about it at this point. But at the same time, I had to give it a go and try and get something done.
So you didn't get your computer, you didn't get the part yet, you were just on a different computer.
Yeah. Thankfully, my girlfriend's a PC gamer as well. Recently gave her a PC that was mostly competent. But yeah, unfortunately just didn't have the... wasn't really able to stand up to all of these cars and this wet race.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Knight trying to get in front of Elshaug, almost making it, but he went very hard on the brakes on the first corner. I don't know why.
I'd say not a pass for position, but a pass to allow Lewis to get back towards Oaks and the rest of the top 5.
But we're seeing nice battles. Jardine again against Shepard. I hope this time he is more careful and does not get into the back of the Ferrari. That would not be a good idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the exact same battle repeated, only there were a couple positions down further after the previous incident.
Stancer against Pekka. We're seeing here a McLaren against a Porsche. Ooh, and Russo. I think he's going to go. Yes! Russo gets the overtake done against Kolb.
Russo's going to get a penalty.
Oh, sure.
No, he's not necessarily going to get a penalty. I don't know that.
Well, he went clearly into the back of you, so
yeah.
Oh, Shepard's gone off.
Oh.
Only briefly. It looked like he was able to get rolling again, but that Ferrari just got a little bit squirrely. That's exactly one of those wet weather, just lost a little bit of grip kind of things, and I believe he lost a position there to Bellas.
The thing is, you go that's a corner that you take on high speed, and it's on dry. It's already a corner where you have to take care of modulating throttle and brake. So on the wet, I imagine it to be even more difficult.
Fun nuance of ACC, by the way, when it comes to that, is that it picks if you go across the curb on that inside corner at mineshaft, then it lifts the car off the ground and removes all of your rear traction.
We have a battle going on here with Knight and Elshaug, yeah.
Yep, we're watching that.
We saw just a slight tap there from the Nissan to the McLaren, and it was some masterful driving. It didn't look like much, but it was some masterful driving from Elshaug to be able to maintain composure. He was going around a fast corner, got bumped by the Nissan, it slid the back end out of the McLaren, and he was able to maintain that drift through the corner and straighten out whenever the track straightened out, and just absolutely handled it beautifully. It was tremendously impressive there.
Kunos have done a lot of work recently on the tyre model, something we've obviously spoken about at quite some length. There was a time not too long ago that kind of tap and slide would have been considered a punt to pass, very specifically because it would have spun the McLaren out got no doubt about that. Now, Lewis and Sam, Knight and Jardine, both in a similar position, or both were in a similar position, in that the cars that they have are not strong in the traditional method. So what they need to be doing, what they should be doing, and again, you can't tell a racer how to race while they're racing, because the monkey brain takes over. But what he should be doing is trying to focus on staying as close as he can to that McLaren, because the McLaren does have the aero advantage. But when he gets onto the straights, the Nissan has a much, much higher top speed. If he can get a good enough exit out onto the start-finish straight, that McLaren has got no answer for him in a straight line. And yeah, down the start-finish straight is absolutely the place to be doing it. Same with Jardine, slowly closing in on Belez to get access to the 79 Lamborghini for second place in silver. And lots of opportunities there for him if he can keep it all together for the rest of the race.
In the meantime, Shepard is getting ever closer to Jardine.
And Knight goes to pass goes to pass Elshaug, and it looked like Elshaug almost gave it to him. He was so slow out of that one corner. Now Elshaug goes for the dive. That's ballsy. Oh man, he gets it only briefly, but he overcooks it and loses not one but two, maybe two positions. No, not quite.
No, but
as Perois thinks better of it in the Lamborghini that's close behind him. But now everyone is bunching up behind, and there's a lot of opportunities here for all these drivers. Jardine now has the overspeed on the BMW of Belez. He's going towards the it's going to be the outside for now, but it's going to be the inside on the big corner here. and he outbrakes him. He gets it for now, but will the Lexus be? I'm sorry. Will the BMW be able to slingshot underneath? No, he will not. And he makes the pass.
That's exactly what I was talking about just now. The Lexus is not good.
Young having a moment.
The Lexus is not good in the corners, but when you get it onto that start-finish straight, there is not a single car that can keep up with it. Even in the draft, the Bentley is slower than the Lexus. Sam absolutely using the strength of his car where he should be.
Yeah, Young, despite being on his home track, in reality his South African internet might be putting him at a little bit of a disadvantage because we're seeing some
point of note,
glitching.
Dave is in the UK.
Dave is in the UK.
Okay.
Dave's UK based. He's a UK based South African.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. He's in the UK, but hails from South Africa. That is information we did not have before.
He actually lives about 10 minutes from where I grew up. Yeah,
Small
really,
world.
really. Yeah, and he's in my race team, so you know.
And Shepard is trying to get the position from Bellis, trying to do the Jardine.
0.4 seconds behind the BMW, looking for an opportunity. I think the BMW's got a bit more power on the straight, so we're going to have to see how it shapes out in the braking zone. They're kind of remaining level here through this straight, which isn't entirely straight, as you can see. But they come down.
No.
That Ferrari's really good in the corners.
Yeah.
Geared up for the next part of that little S-bend there, and he's got him in his sights, but he doesn't. He gained a little bit better, I think, track position, but it's not really reflecting too much on the timing screen. BMW got real loose as he goes wide.
Yeah.
That's that wet line.
That's not the end of the. It's not the end of the world unless Bellis gives the place up, which he does. He did not want to fight that silver driver for the position. You can use the outside line. Wet line is, as Cody rightly said, is very effective coming through sunset. Was using it earlier in the GT2s to great effect, and having a little bit of extra water on these wet tyres, bearing in mind with 23 are we at now? With 23 drivers circulating, there is going to be quite a bit of dry tarmac at this point, or even at this early point in the race. It's not raining anywhere near heavy enough.
Yeah, we just saw Pattenden passed Velez as well.
And we're seeing it in the replay.
I think Bellas might have gotten a little bit spooked. He's driving much more conservatively, and I think allowed his fellow BMW driver on the grid to pass. Not the only BMW driver. Hagen in second place is being challenged right now by Dave Young, who we recently have learned is located in the UK, so the internet connectivity has a little less of an excuse. But
we'll blame it on Brexit like we do everything else.
Yeah, there we go, and then we'll get some comments about it, I'm sure. Hagen gets a little squirrely. Young now 0.2 seconds behind, halves the distance.
He's going to have a good run up towards Leocop here.
Oh, absolutely. A fantastic run here on this straight. He's going to look towards the inside. We've got a very defensive position from Hagen. I think he does a good job there, but he doesn't have as much cornering grip as the Mercedes does. He didn't get as good of a line. And Young's able to continue to glue himself to the back, although the BMW is kind of running away with it on the, not really a straight, but, the fast moment there. There's a quick left-hander.
I think Young's internet issues may play at hand there.
Yeah, certainly if Young's not careful, or if Hagen's not careful, this could result in some unintended and very unforeseen contact, just due to the nature of the way netcode works. Neither driver could know that they have made contact, but the server feels as though they did. That's what I'm referring to.
Thomas has gotten on the curb, but on the brakes into turn 1. Got very, very squirrely. ABS saved him, thankfully, but that will have knocked his confidence as well, and yeah, put him all out of sorts coming up towards turn 4 as well.
It certainly does.
Jardine tries to go on the inside.
5.
Nope. Jardine glued to Parois.
Yeah, that's another battle that's shaped up as we've been looking at these guys. And then another thing, don't tear our eyes off of this, but Russo and Cedric, I think, got into each other.
Yeah.
And Russo is stopped on the final turn before the start-finish straight. He gets going again. But Parois,
and Jardine
right alongside, gets past him.
Oh, but Jardine. Oh.
That's a real loose back end on that Lexus going around. As we mentioned on that corner, the wet line can be very, very quick because you've got that wider radius, but you do have less grip, so you've got to be real careful with the throttle there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he almost lost his advantage, and probably a lot more too.
The Lexus is a very old car. It's built to be a very big sofa. Jardine has said for a long time that this is his car, and he is very, very happy in it. Seeing him circulating as he is, I mean, kind of proving the point, really. But with regards to, I don't think that Young's going to go for Hagen. There's a 5-second success penalty coming the way of Thomas at his pit stop. So assuming that they both have a similar pit strategy wherein they're going to take tyres, and with the track drying and burning these tyres as they have been, even in the qualifying sessions, tyres were getting up towards 70-80 degrees, which is not where you want your wet tyres to be. Dave's looking pretty hot at the moment.
Absolutely, and him with no ballast, call it success penalty, right? Yeah, success penalty. Versus, both drivers ahead of him have it. We talked about Hagen, but Rossi as well has a 10-second. And Rossi, now that we mention him, he's gone off. Commentator's curse. We have a McLaren off. He kept it moving, but yeah, he spun fully 360, dipped one wheel in the grass, and was able to get going. As far as being a leader with some cushion, it's about as good as you can get, but it wasn't enough cushion, and he's dropped down to third.
Yep, the S's will always catch you out. It's an awful off-camber left-hander into an on-camber right-hander, and it is not a smooth transition between the two. Even the best of the cars gets unsettled, and you're taking some level of compromising line. Ross is going straight into the pits to get rid of those wet tyres.
Yeah, and then that off-camber thing, and then it's wet.
yeah, absolutely. It's a very
adds
busy
a whole nother level.
It's a very busy pit lane. Russo, Cedric, Rossi, Geese, all in the pit lane at the same time. We are not that far through this race, are we?
Well, no, yes. It's 32 minutes to the end. So.
Mark.
Yeah, we're just before halfway mark.
But yeah, you have a new leader, Hagen, who's being challenged for that lead by Young, who gets a little squirrely. I've just started looking at him. Man, Rossi being the first driver to take a pit stop, he has dropped down into 12th, 13th now. So, man, green flag pit stops really can get you. But of course, all these drivers that you see are going to have to take pit stops as well. That will shake the order up, and then it will shake back down into place. So he will most likely get at least some of those spots back. But man, you just see him drop down the order like a rock. Just taking a look at all that. It's interesting.
But Ike, is it scheduled that it's gonna be drier?
No.
Oh, exactly.
I would expect, yeah, the randomness I believe is set to very low. So we are expecting this consistent rain all the way through the race.
Okay.
As much as ACC is well, it's a difficult thing all around, because ACC's physics doesn't play well with wet weather, but at the same time, everyone's had an opportunity to get on a wet track and get a setup dialed in. So it's a difficult situation for everyone and ERA as well to provide servers that are consistently wet, but also not provide any kind of advantage or disadvantage to anyone in particular. It's a really difficult balancing act.
So, from the couple of wet races that I've done on ACC, I felt it was quite well done, near to reality.
No,
okay.
it's not. The rubbered in line has far too much grip. The off-track line, the off the racing line, the wet line, as we would refer to it normally, doesn't have anywhere near enough grip. The thing that AMS2 got around by simply inverting the grip coefficient, that thing that we spoke about in the news, what feels like forever ago now.
I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. The wet weather thing is half a year ago.
Oh, big off from Russo, down in 18th, now 19th. The white
Fresh out the pits.
I guess cold tires and a bad rumble strip just caught him off guard, and he swung across the track, hit the left side of the barrier, swung back across the track yet again, and hit the right side of the barrier, and lost some positions based on that.
And possibly a couple of pieces of the car.
Oh, assuredly. He will be nursing some damage.
Was he get too wide? Oh no, he was gone before he got to the exit of the corner.
Yeah.
And that's a really weird incident, that.
Yeah, he started to slip. He might have had a chance to catch it, but he just hit those rumble strips just exactly at the wrong time, and that just took away any chance of being able to save the car.
Yeah.
And then from there, he was a passenger.
Yep, absolutely.
We're seeing a lot of drivers now making their pit stops. We're 2 minutes past the halfway point, and so now it's anyone's game. One driver who's not come in yet for his pit stop is Hagen in the BMW. He's taking his chance at getting some lead laps in. And Young as well has stayed glued to the back of him, not as closely glued as he was before. I think both drivers are just taking the opportunity of some pretty clean track that they've had ahead of them to just put down some laps, and they will come in, soon, because they will have to. But it's looking like their strategy is to kind of wait out some of the other drivers, at least for as long as they don't have somebody in front of them. But right now, they've got some really, really clean air.
Also,
yeah,
it
the other
depends
car
on
is
how you drive.
Sorry.
It depends on how you drive and how you punish the tires.
Yeah, the overcut is incredibly powerful. 23 car is showing as yellow at Leocop.
That's Kolb.
That's Kolb.
And he got loose and spun.
All by himself.
Yeah.
Nice. So ACC, the overcut, as it's called, as you'd call it in F1 parlance, is extremely powerful. Running in this clear air with hot tires can gain you a lot of relative time compared to your competitors, and especially when, their next car that they could possibly come across, let me just have a look at their relatives very quickly, is still 15 seconds up the road. Yes, they're a couple of seconds a lap faster than the driver, that being the 91 of Arnold. But all the while they've got this clean air, and the thing is as well is that Dave doesn't need to do anything. He's not under pressure at all. The two people that were ahead of him, or all of the people that were ahead of him, either had success penalties or have are in the com box. So it's Dave's sitting quite pretty for a very, very good win at the moment if he can keep it all together. But that is one of Dave's specialties is clean, consistent driving. I wouldn't expect anything less of him.
Oh, and he's got a really, really good run on the BMW of Hagen. He's been sitting back behind him for a little while now, and it looks like now he had a really good opportunity as Hagen had a slow corner. And, he was up to a second behind him before, but now it looks like he's kind of pushing to get ahead of him. I'm not quite sure why, but it might have just been that Hagen's moment just allowed Young to get closer, and that's just how it shifted. Oh, hey, Hagen comes into the pits. Young stays out. So now Young will get at least one clean lap.
Hagen's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, I think so. It's a lot easier to attack than to defend.
Yeah, but simultaneously, it's a possible mistake for Young. Stance is only 3 seconds up the road, freshly out of the pits, cold tires, doesn't have the grip underneath him. He could be a risk to this victory for Young.
Yeah, and then there's just more drivers after that, even if he were to get around him. We've got a lot of leaders coming in. Jardine in the Lexus has come in. Knight has come in. We missed it a little bit ago, but Porsche of Oaks, who was in third, came in as well and is now working his way back up the order.
Yeah, Oaks had a success penalty as well, so he's got a lot of work to do. Down behind Rossi, who was in third position before he pitted. Yes. So that is a net 5th position in class that he's looking at the moment for gold there. 4th, if he can get past Bellis here.
And we're watching Oaks, Elsaug, Shepard all battling for 7th against Bellish.
Yep. Noteworthy, of course, is that Mr. Jardine is down and are at the pit exit now. He's going to have a significant pit speed disadvantage, so he's going to lose out on that lead that he has at the moment. But he's going to have, if he took tyres, this could be a blinding play with Elsaug and Shepard.
He comes out in quite a bit of traffic too.
Yeah.
He's directly in the thick of it again.
And Oaks took the opportunity to take the 6th position.
Yep. Looks like Sam's retained that lead, hasn't he?
Does
Good
look that
grief,
way.
that Lexus is so quick in a straight line.
Oh, your leader Young has pit. That's the AMG, and Hagen will. Actually, no, he's on the other side of the track to take advantage. It looks like Young.
He will
you know what?
be...
I'm not going to call it. It's going to be close.
Nah, Hagen won't get that place back. Young had a clean in lap. Even if it wasn't on pace, he would have been more than capable.
That's a good point. Also,
is on the last corner,
Young's
and
there
you go. He's rolling now.
Yeah,
it just kind of glitched back and forth there. No, it is going to be close because there goes Hagen.
Yeah, and that's it.
Even with that 5-second delta, I wonder if Hagen didn't take tires and Young did.
It's possible.
Because that's the 5-second difference. The penalty for Thomas and Dave taking, unless he got his pit stop very wrong, which he has done on a couple of occasions historically, but I would suggest that he may have new tires on that. We'll be able to tell if he falls back and then starts closing up in a significant fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Now the pressure's on. 21 minutes to get past Hagen, but there's a distinct possibility that Young has significantly better tires underneath that Mercedes. As the stagger unwinds, as always, it's just outside of the top 5 all the time is where the battles are, isn't it?
And well, not
often
only
it shapes out that way. This race, we've had a few battles that Hagen and Young fight is not over yet. They've got a little bit more gap, but yeah, we've been seeing a lot of closeness mid-pack here, especially upper mid-pack. A lot of those where the silvers meet the golds. I'll tell you what, has Bakker just not come in yet?
No, he hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, okay, that's what's happening there, because we have a bronze driver in 4th place overall. Knight is real close behind him. I don't think he's stuck behind him, but he's very close behind him. And I was curious what was going on there, but that would make sense. Hey, Bakker, we've got 20 minutes left. You'll have to come in at some point.
Oh, there's a McLaren trying to get past the Mercedes to get access to San Jardine. Not that it's going to do him any help, because there's no way he can make any kind of pass. But the McLaren gets past the BMW. That is 8th position on the road.
Yeah, and that's a silver McLaren versus a gold BMW. Yeah. Interesting to note. But that's not just any silver driver. That is Elshog, who was leading the race in class earlier in the race before the pit stops, and he is fighting to get back up to it, but he's got to get around Jardine, so he's got about 1.9, a little under 2 seconds to make up. Bakker does get passed by Knight. Good easy pass.
Good.
So Knight back up with the rest of the golds. So right now, all of these drivers have taken pit stops. It's Hagen, Young, Rossi, and Knight.
And we're watching Van Holland against Arnold for 11th position.
Perfect. These guys are real close together. We haven't covered these guys too much. I know we talked about Arnold when he went off. I think that was either him or another Ferrari, but I think it was him. Earlier in the race, but yeah, definitely a race. Oh, whoa! Big spin, big spin,
and behind him, Pattenden.
Yeah,
that is carried right across the middle of the road. That could be really painful. Yeah. Thank goodness he didn't get hit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But both by themselves, no other contact.
You know, you could call it that, but I would say that Pattenden had to kind of slam on the brakes to avoid making contact there, and ended up locking the tires, as it's really easy to do there. You've pretty much got no wiggle room in your grip. Yeah, Arnold again having an off for a brief second. Accidents beget accidents, so he's going to be very careful.
You tend to get befuddled and then get into the next accident, yeah.
I wonder if he's got damage. Give me a second. I'm just going to try a thing, because I recently found out that apparently one of the tools that I have works on other cars as well.
Oh, do tell.
So I might be able to find out if he's actually carrying damage.
By the way, Young is already under 1 second away from Hagen.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. Because as we've already seen in the first stanza of the race, so to speak, the BMW's clearly got the straight line speed, but the Mercedes has the handling to really support Young getting the most out of the car. I dare say it's going to be a mistake like this from Hagen.
No.
That causes the issue. It's all well and good saying that the BMW is comfortable, but if it's not predictable, that's the problem.
Yeah, but that was not an issue of the car. That was an issue of Hagen taking the corner wrong.
Yeah. No, only works when I'm actually a driver in the session. Oh well, it was worth a try.
And we're seeing Awabdi against Cedric. How there, bronze driver who is getting the better of Cedric.
I may need to go. The PC is not very happy with me.
Ooh.
Understood.
I'm getting about a second of lag on all of my inputs. So I may need to bid you both adieu because yes, CPU and GPU are.
Let's take a look. Yeah. Farewell. It was great to see you.
Yeah.
Cedric and Awabde had a big shunt.
Cedric went into Awabde.
Yeah.
The other way around. Sorry.
Other way around. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, that was a very big hit.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly causes some damage between those drivers' cars there. Hagen's getting a little bit closer to Young. That's for the lead, but yeah, Young has gotten out in front, and it's just with the roles reversed, a very similar story to how it was before the pass.
Yeah, the Young's car appears to be all over the place because I suppose it's some internet issues or some issues with the server, but as it's the only car, I suppose that the issues are at his side.
Yeah, most likely, but one way or the other, it's working. He's in the lead. He has not had any crashes or incidents where he's lagged into another driver, so
yeah, true that.
Whatever the issue is, it's still going.
Becca's still not in pits. I hope he hasn't forgotten that there's an obligatory pit stop. Oh, Jardine goes out, it seems all by himself. We were watching him and he went into the grass and lost control of the car.
That's 3 positions down for him as he gets himself turned back around to get going. Drops down into 10th.
So things have calmed down a bit with less than 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, stay with us though, because this battle between Young and Hagen is not over yet.
Nope.
By any stretch of the imagination. They have stayed within a second of each other. Now 2 seconds, but that's just because we're rubber banding out here on a straight. These guys have a lot of open air in front of them. That means a lot of opportunity for a mistake to happen unforced. I wouldn't say that would be likely in any other condition, but we are racing in the rain and anything is possible. Yeah, we saw Young just this corner get a little bit loose on exit.
Watching Shepard against Elshaug. That's a battle that we're commentating a lot.
Absolutely. Even in the times where they have come apart from each other, they have found each other again. Yeah. Tell you what, an interesting thing that I've noticed is most of the times where a car has collided into another car in this race, it has involved a McLaren and a Ferrari.
Maybe they are too near in their overall speed.
They are both mid-engine cars that are fairly new. You know, it's the Evo version of the setup. So that's a possibility.
Oh, Rossi has gone off.
Big off from Rossi. Himself. I don't think he hit anything. Take a look here on the replay. Yeah, he goes off into the grass.
Yes.
Oh, he does hit. He hits
Eesh.
hard. Ooh. That was, yeah, man. just in a zone where you should be braking, he dips his tires just a little bit too far off the track, gets in that very, very wet grass, and has no chance from there. He just loses it all. A hard hit into the wall. He's still rolling, but he's got Knight right on his tail now. At a very crucial time in the race, 11 minutes left to go. So if he loses this position, he will have to work very hard to get it back and won't have a lot of time to do it. He'll be driving a car that's damaged, so he's going to be at a disadvantage from Knight, who is getting, I'd say, ever closer.
And Shepard goes on the inside on the first corner, but thinks better of it and does not try to overtake. But he's very near to Elsa.
Two battles right now, getting heated, getting heated at the same time. Knight and Rossi for third place, and for 7th place overall, and first in the silver class, we have Elshaug and Shepard, the saga that has been going on throughout this race. And we are now at the 10-minute mark, right as I said, 10 minutes. Now these drivers, if they weren't already, really got to make their moves to get up the order.
What we have now, the closest battle that we have is here, Shepard against Elsa. All the others are shaping up, but not yet as close as this one. And Becca is still not going into pits. I don't know what the penalty is when you don't go into pits, but I think it's disqualification.
That would make sense. If Ike were here, I think he'd be able to tell us. As a competitor, he really understands
he's now
the
into
rule book.
pits.
Aha, there we go, finally. Maybe he was listening.
Yeah, he was like, wait, oh yeah, there's a pit. Oh, the pit stop. Yeah. Still, for now, he is the highest positioned bronze driver.
Yep, for a few more seconds until Marud passes him, and yep, there he goes. Marud has passed him from the as Bakr's in the pits. And yeah, Marud really punching above his weight class. He has been driving alongside the silvers throughout much of this race.
Nice. So, what battles do we have? We have Knight against Rossi for third. We have Shepard against Elshaug, which we've been showing you a lot. We have Marud against Stancer, as we were saying. Marud bronze, Stancer silver. And that's all we have for the moment. Shepard, all the time very near, but he either doesn't want or he's waiting for the absolutely right moment. He still has 7 minutes and a half. And
oh, Oaks almost spins. Oaks, I think I'm gonna take a look on the on my instant replay, but yeah, Oaks hits a bump and then just has an initial D Doriftu moment, saves it, but that car went like 3 wheels in the air, hitting a sausage curb on the inside, and then in the rain he catches the slide in a Porsche.
Oh, Marud.
Oh, Marud and Arnold both, I think, got involved. Ferrari.
Watching the replay, Marud went into the sausage, and it seems that Arnold also.
That's the exact same corner that the Porsche hit. That's the exact same incident, as a matter of fact, that we had just seen with the Porsche.
Meanwhile, Knight gets very near to Rossi for third podium.
Yeah, he's got it in sight. Nissan on the podium. That is what's at stake here. That 888 McLaren of Rossi, he's had a very, very good run. He was doing real well at the beginning, kind of got knocked down a few pegs and has worked his way back up. Knight, who I think has been a little bit more consistent, has definitely earned a spot on the podium, but he's got to fight for it still. Young and Hagen, I'm seeing something. What happened with Young and Hagen? Did anything?
No?
Okay.
Like Hagen was under a second away from Young, but now he is over a second away for whatever reason. I didn't see any issues.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think there was, but saw something up here on my timing screen that made me question reality, because it showed the arrow up and arrow down to that a driver had passed, but I was watching them and neither driver had passed or been passed, so I was like, wait, did I miss something, or did I get that wrong? Oh man, I'll tell you what, Elshaug and Shepard, this is probably the longest that we've had drivers be within a second of each other.
Yeah.
These guys have been, I wouldn't say duking it out, because they haven't really gotten close enough to really start fighting, but Elshaug has remained in striking distance, is what I'll call it.
Yeah.
You see these drivers taking very different lines through the corners there. One going around the outside, being able to carry a little bit more speed, but have less of an accident. The other taking the inside, but not having as much grip.
It may also have to do with different different behavior from the cars.
Yes, yeah, both with the setup and also at this point, we've got to start considering tire wear on the second set of tires.
If they took new tires, because it seems that was not obligatory.
Yes, yeah, you're right. So, 3 minutes, 45 seconds left to go in this race. We're coming down to the wire, and Hagen has really lost ground on Young. Young is running away with it, as much as we can call it running away in this race. There hasn't been a whole lot of running, like we have seen with some previous races. You know, the last race, I believe Chris Wall won by like 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's running away with it. These drivers, they've been a bit closer, but
it's also because of the rain.
Right, yeah, that's true. But whenever you've been half a second to a second pinned to the back of the leader, to be 3 seconds back, well, you're going to feel like he's running away with it.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any big battles until the end. They all seem to be settled in comfortable positions, but of course now I jinxed it and we're gonna have battles all over the place.
Well, the closest one that we've got is Elshaug and Shepard still.
No, I'd say...
Oh, no! Oh, whoa. Hey, what's going on? Oh!
Whoops. We lost Cody.
His connection is bouncing in and out. That's interesting. I went, oh, whoa, because for a moment he disappeared entirely off of the grid, and I thought that he had lost connection completely. Luckily, it doesn't seem to be the case. He is still driving, but he did, I think, for a moment there, lose connection to the server, which at such a crucial moment you do not want to happen.
Yeah, on the other hand, you were not to be hurt, so it might have been at your end of the connection, by the way. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because the moment that you
I
went,
didn't lose connection to any other drivers, but that's
okay.
I lost it only to Young.
The moment that you went, oh whoa, you could not be heard anymore.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, Jardine, battle for 8th with Velez. The Lexus is still making himself known.
I mean, third in the silver tier, so that's not bad.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a fight for in-class position with Velez, but it is for 8th overall. And you can really see as these drivers go around the slip angle that some of these guys are running with in these wet conditions.
And you know what? I never would have expected the Lexus to be such a fast car, so to speak. But
the Lexus and the Nissan were racing in 2016 again.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I mean, Jardine really has a handle on that car that I would not have expected to be as fast. But hey, when you're tuned in to your car. Oh, and I think this is gonna be the last lap for Young because time's up. So next time that Young crosses the start and end straight, which is gonna be soon-ish.
He's in the middle of sector 2 right now, so
yeah, okay.
He's pretty much on the opposite side of the track, but that does mean only a few more turns until the end of this race. Looking at, let's see, that's 16. Yeah, it looks like a lot of these drivers are going to have another almost full lap ahead of them, based on where Young is and where he'll be finishing the race. But even though the time's over, the race is not over yet until Young crosses the line, and then until the rest of these drivers cross the line. Oh, Cedric has spun hard and has crashed into the wall hard on the second to last straightaway. And so 129 race winner, he's going to have to make his way around. He does it safely. And that is the final corner of the race for Young. He is going to cross the line here, and that is the Kyalami 1 hour for Evolution Racing Academy. It's Young in first, Hagen in second. Rossi still has to cross the line.
And Jardine, meanwhile, Jardine takes the place from Belish, who drove a little bit into him, but nothing big. Oh,
and I think Jardine gave him the position back, gentlemanly.
Okay. Rossi crosses the line, then Knight. And
And Knight pretty close behind to Rossi there.
Oaks.
By the end of it.
Shefford. 6th, Elshaug. 7th overall. Jardine taking over from Belish. Whatever. So we have gold, silver, gold, silver. Okay, the first silver is Shefford, then Elshaug, then Jardine. First bronze is Morut, then Becca, then Awabde. And the overall winners in their tier and overall are Hagen, Rossi, and Knight. BMW, McLaren, and Nissan. Next week is not going to be a race by the Evolution Racing Academy. I think they are going, a lot of them are going together to a DTM race, if I remember correctly.
Sounds like it.
And the next one I can see right now in my calendar. So in 2 weeks, the next race of the Evolution Racing Academy. which is not gonna be Kyalami in the wet, but this was an interesting race. Any famous last words from you, Cody?
Well, we promised excitement, and Kyalami in the wet did not disappoint at all. We had a lot of really good battles. We had some crashes. We had some victories. We had really, really interesting stories shaping up, and we got to have Ike in the booth, which is not that often that you have a driver, and then a commentator, and then nothing. So that was a very, very interesting arc from Ike. Real shame though that he couldn't get points on the board, but we will see you guys next time.
In 2 weeks. Until then, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium. Bye.
Bye.